there seems to be quite a lot of sort of nostalgia in your songs, one way or the other, and references to history. How much research do you have to do for a song like, say, Flying Isaac?
Not very much. Well, Flying Isaac came about because I had read the book, the Brian Joyce book, The Chatham Scandal,
Okay.
which was a great and you know, at the time I used to part of my role at work, although didn't do sort of frontline work, I had responsibility for managing some of the outreach workers who worked with the sex workers locally,
Okay.
and used to do some health promotion with sort of some of the sex workers. So I had sort of a vague interest in this, and then found this book that was basically a history of prostitution in Medway,
Okay.
called The Chatham Scandal, and it was all up based on sort of documentary evidence of what the, you know, gave a bit of the sort of context, but really, you know, newspaper reports and different sources of, you know, it told some stories of particular women who were notorious,
Yeah.
particularly Victoria, and one of them was Flying Isaac, and she was I should know, Eliza something, I should not remember that really, should know her real name. But everyone called her Flying Isaac, and she was notorious.
Why was she called that?
We don't really know, and we asked lots of people that, but actually a friend of ours said that, who comes from Chatham, said that her grandmother used to say, when they were like running around as kids, you know, she would say, "Oh, sit down, you're running around like a Flying Isaac." I think it's like a sort of a corruption of like a whirling dervish or something.
Okay.
I think it's like but maybe it's just a very local
Okay.
sort of, I don't know. So somebody
Because
who's running
of the trapeze act or something.
I think it's somebody might have had some sort of speciality.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a sort of local slang, or was, for somebody who runs around,
Yeah.
madly running around, which was how they described her, that she was always sort of running drunk and up and down
Yeah.
the brook with her.
But the
So that was
inspiration come from Brian Joyce.
from the book, absolutely. So
Who we've
I'd
met,
read
so
that, and I
okay.
thought, you know, she deserves a song.
Yeah.
And that just sort of coincided with Brian experimenting with the banjo, which, you know,
Which I can't play. It's
Oh.
always a good way to write a very simple tune, is to use an instrument.
you can play it.
You can't play very well.
Brian always defaults to the guitar, but plays lots of sort of stringed instruments. But actually, if he's playing something that's not a guitar,
Yeah.
it makes him write
Discipline
simpler
yourself to
tunes.
Yeah.
So he did this sort of he had this sort of very simple tune, which sort of suited it, and then it just sort of that actually was reasonably straightforward to write. I think, from memory. I think because it was, you know, it wasn't trying to be clever or, you know, make a point. It was just telling a little bit of a story about this character.
Yeah.
And
the judge
and trying to
recognising
I made that up.
The BBC local Radio Kent actually asked us to do write a song. We wrote No Ships for the BBC for that commemoration of the closing of the dockyard. And I can't remember what year.
Oh, no, I can't remember what year it was. It might be the 25th anniversary.
So then asked us to write a song about Medway and slavery as regards John Hawkins, because he was a slaver in the pay of Elizabeth I.
I think they asked us to write about John Hawkins. I think it was just because it's the 200th anniversary of the abolition, something like that.
Which we both researched separately, and like, well, it's still on the BBC archives, but the comment was, well, there's nothing left to say, you've said it all. So we sort of over-researched it a little bit, and you know, it's not one of our better works.
Well, we don't play it.
We never play
it's
it.
all right. Something.
It's
a few people.
but you can
try and get too much into, because it's just a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, it's sort of, and folk songs, like folk ballads, you know, that's, you know, I don't particularly like folk ballads very much. Because they just go on and on and on, don't they?
verses.
Telling everything story, very accurate and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you just need to interpret that or use it as an inspiration rather than being too factually accurate. So I think we sort of learnt a bit from that. What else did we research? Do a lot of research.
Well, I started doing this, the Dutch and the Medway, but then Kipling made a rather good job of it, didn't he? I read the Kipling book, the Dutch and the Medway.
Okay.
It sort of,
did that.
I didn't really. I mean, I'm aware of Kipling, but
we did put a tune to that actually, to the poem.
I did start doing that, but it's a brilliant poem. I was saying to someone in the Man of Kent, how that sums it all up.
Right.
You know,
okay.
the austerity then, you know, which is really.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the area of Medway influences you a lot as well, whether that's historical or current, I suppose. You mentioned No Ships. There's the Ghost on Bluebell Hill as well, which is when was it, like the 70s that accident happened? Or
it was the 60s.
Like 60s,
yeah.
So I mean, how much do you feel you owe to where you live for your songs?
Everything.
Well, I think, you know, you have to sort of, you know, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? But, you know, you write about what you know, and you can't sort of, and again, that's a bit of a tradition around a folky sort of tradition, isn't it? And I think people sort of don't always expect you to. I think, you know, a lot of you know, the more famous or more established folk musicians, you know, are from the north or, you know, Yorkshire and, you know, Scotland, and they have a very strong sense of their you know, regional identity. I think people think that, you know, we have much less history in the southeast. I think, you know, people are sometimes surprised. You know, so we go all around the country, you know, and do Medway songs and talk about, you know, the dockyard and you know, the loss of industry and things like that. And I think that people have this sense that, you know, that didn't happen in the southeast, but of course it did. You know, there was mines in Kent, and you know, that it was different, but you know, it still affected us. And I think that it's, you know, it's important to write about the things that you know, the things that are happening, that you see around you, and that's sort of where your inspiration comes from. I think possibly originally I think because we got commissioned to do the sort of song about the dockyard, I think we were probably, you know, years ago, we were probably more self-consciously thinking, oh, what can we write about that's local?
Yeah.
We did that song called Cabbage Island about Luton Road, which we don't sing anymore. I think it was. I quite like that. Yeah, Bluebell Hill, and you know, going to Broadstairs and all of that. But I think we sort of we're now sort of less self-consciously doing that. If something crops up that we think, oh, that'd make a song, then we'll have a go at it. But I think we've sort of, it's not, you know, it doesn't have to.
I like little exercises. I like to, you know, I like to have little projects and see if I can do a song in that sort of style.
Yeah.
It's just my thing, you know.
Yeah.
Old retired person and all that.
You've done 3 albums, is it? Yeah. And you've done those at Jim Riley's Ranscombe Studios.
Yeah. Every single thing we've ever done.
Yeah. And you know Jim from primary school,
yeah, we sort of. I think he was in the same year as my sister, actually. Because you know he we obviously lived. He lived in Hartington Street, I think, and we lived in Charter Street. Okay. And I haven't got a brilliant memory for people going that far back. And I vaguely remember Jim from that days, but I think he was in my sister's year.
Okay.
But when we sort of when we met him again, I think when he was playing, he was playing with the Gurus. And he said, "Oh, I think I remember you from school." And then you just sort of like trigger those. Oh God, yeah. So we have quite a lot of shared, history and people. Went to the same school and everything. But
so, what's it like working with him in the studio?
Well, I haven't really got I haven't really got much to compare it to because I've the recordings that Brian and I have done, I've never really recorded anything before. So I haven't really. I mean, you've got experience of, but I love it. I love going to the studio. It's like it's a bit of playing and Jim is sort of, he is very he's very engaged in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. It's not a passive thing. He will not in an obtrusive way, but because he knows us and and has worked with us over the years, not hugely, but he's quite intuitive about suggesting what you do, and Brian's very comfortable with getting Jim's input into how things might go. So he's definitely, a part of the recording process. We don't just go in there and stand together and do it, and Jim just records it.
It's quite obvious with Jim.
It's very,
if you ask him, he'll have input. If you don't want him to have input, then he won't. His diplomacy skills are wonderful.
Yeah.
But he always ends up. He always ends up on a recording, doesn't he? He always does something. He does a percussion or a bit of harmonica. Or backing vocals. He quite often does some oohs. He's very good at sort of pitching harmonies and stuff that we can't. Between our range or something. Jim's, he'll go, I think we should have another one in there. Shall I go in and try one? And so it's just like having a good time with your mates.
We don't like to put too much on because it's just Sal and I have got to do everything when we go out. So, and we don't use looper pedals. So.
Yeah. So he's kind of your go-to man if you want to record an album.
Oh, absolutely.
That's who you go to, really,
isn't
it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely tell that the albums are recorded there.
Yeah.
There's just something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so much analogue now, but it's like analogue techniques. I think it's just.
Yeah.
He's got the big plate reverb now as well. Big piece of metal.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. I said whatever. It's technical. I just said whatever. Yeah. It's fancy apparently.
The latest thing for us is house concerts.
Okay.
We were playing people's houses, which I think primarily was an American idea.
Right.
And it's been big in Europe for quite a while. It's great for us, because everybody there's come to see you.
Yeah. So how many people will you usually play to in a house?
20.
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
20 to 30.
As many as the house can hold, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
So it's quite laid back.
It's
unplugged.
really good. Completely unplugged. It's lovely, and it's actually, I think people like pay a tenner or something, but they bring their own beer with them. So actually, it's cheaper than going to the pub, and you get the entertainment.
Wow.
And it's great for us because we get to sort of a fresh audience.
Yeah.
So we don't have to learn any new jokes or anything.
Yeah. Brilliant. Win-win.
But it is. It's I think it probably will become a lot bigger, really, won't it?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
When we got one in Ely, end of the year, we don't know the people.
Oh, right, so you've
they booked us to a house
far afield for it.
Yeah.
They booked us to do a house concert.
We're on tour next week, aren't we?
Yeah, we're on tour.
We're going to Stockton-on-Tees Folk Club. Stockton Folk Club.
Okay.
We're going to Walthamstow Folk Club on Sunday, and then driving up to Stockton. I don't know. I've been there. I don't know. That's very far north, isn't it? And then we're going to Robin Hood's Bay Folk Club.
Right.
During the week, so we're having a little trip out and having a little bit of time in Yorkshire.
Wow.
So
getting around,
it's fun. Yeah. I mean, it's not really viable to do these things, but we've got the camper. We take the camper.
Yeah.
Turn it into a little holiday.
Little jaunt up the M1. Why not?
Well, exactly.
What musicians from around here do you like? Do you get to see them much? Do you hear them much? Or?
You were a great singing Nines fan, weren't you?
Yeah.
When they were around.
Okay.
And we've done one track with Chris.
Okay.
Chris Broderick.
On the new album.
Okay.
One of his songs.
Right.
And well, his and Rob Shepherd's.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's just the album that you had out last year, or
the most recent one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's on that.
Okay.
We don't get out that much, do we? Really?
Well, apart from Stockton on Tees.
Well, Stockton on Tees, yeah. Well, you know.
Once you've done that, you probably need to lie down, don't you? Really? So.
Yeah, I probably need a cold shower.
We don't really know a lot of them.
We're not really very integrated into.
No, not really.
Okay, no worries. And so, what are your plans for the future? You've got these sort of house concerts.
Yeah, we're sort of. I suppose we're just trying to continue writing, which goes in fits and starts, and just keep going really. But since we're both been unemployed, just trying to just get out there and do a bit more really.
Yeah.
And we're able to go a bit further afield and that whole there's a big sort of folk circuit out there.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult it's a bit painful really, sort of getting on the inside of it sometimes.
Yeah.
As everybody says the same thing, but
it's incredible. I mean, they're booking 2019 now.
the guy I spoke to today,
Yeah.
he said, we booked for this year, but we booked for. He said, I'm looking at 2019. I'm thinking, so
You've actually got to still be alive.
That's what I say to Brian. It's good because it gives you a reason to live for another couple of years. Because you'd never renege on a gig, no matter what it was. If you'd taken a gig, you'd do it regardless. That's your professionalism run right through you. So if you had a gig in 2019, you'd live that long.
Really?
Oh, really? Yeah. Have you heard of Flying Isaac, the Queen of New Brompton? She was the sailor's joy. She asked him for a shilling, and she would be willing with a captain or a cabin boy. She'd take them to the churchyard, lie down on a tombstone, the Chatham girls' romance. When she satisfied their cravings, she would have away their savings without a second glance. All together now. Up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? Flying Isaac, bold as brass. Oh, up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? You want to buy a lady a glass. The landlord of the Crown said he didn't want her custom. She had no means to pay. She said she'd pay in kind, but he kicked her behind and told her, just go on your way. Oh, but she was unbowed as she turned to the crowd like a ship that was in full sail. Oh, she was hard to handle, she become a bloody scandal, and they put her in the jail. Oh, up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? Flying Isaac, bold as brass. Oh, up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? You want to buy a lady a glass.
she goes.
Hello, sailor, what do you know?
Flying Isaac, bold as brass.
Oh, up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? You wanna buy a lady a glass. When Flying Isaac came before the judge in all her glory to pay for her disgrace, the judge sat way up high and she looked him in the eye and she said, don't I know your face? And the courtroom was amused at the sight of the accused watching old Judge Brown's shame. And she got off with a warning and was on the street next morning playing the same old game.
Oh, up and down the brook she goes.
Hello, sailor, what do you know?
Flying Isaac, bold as brass.
Oh, up and down the brook she goes. Hello, sailor, what do you know? You wanna buy a lady a glass. All you gotta do is ask.